Welcome to a video entitled Connecting to a Remote Server. Now, in some previous videos I talked to you about what Workstation Server is, how it operates, the fact that it uses HTTPS over port 443 and all that stuff. Then in part 1 and part 2 of Shared Virtual Machines, I went through how to create this shared machine right here. When I click on the Shared Machines folder, I can see that I have one shared machine out here, okay? And so now I want to talk about how would I access this machine from a remote machine, a remote host that's using a Workstation. Well, let's just pretend that I'm on a separate machine. I'm going to show you how to connect to this one, okay? What I want to do is I will click on File, Connect to Server, and what I want to do here is put in a server name or an IP address. Well, I'm going to put my IP address 192.168.0.192, and now I've got to put a username and a password so that it knows who I am. And then I'll connect, and I want you to notice what's going to happen when I connect. Do I want to remember the login information? Now, if I put remember here, every time I try to connect up to this machine, it will check my credentials to see if that's who I am. But keep in mind, anybody could do that. Now, you can go disable this, and it will never remember these things and force you to always connect up and give a username and password. And that's what most administrators do. That's out there in the documentation. You can go look that up and take care of that. But for now, I'm not going to remember this. Now notice what it's done. Under my shared VMs, you can see here that I have a shared VM right now, and it's 192.168.0.192, and there it is right there, and I can power on this machine and use it, and everything is cool. Now, because of the way I've done this, keep in mind I'm sitting on the same machine, but I connected to this one using HTTPS, and it went to the IP address 192.168.0.192. And so as far as Workstation is concerned, I've connected to this somewhere else, okay? So that's the way it's going to look, that's the way it's going to feel. And if you'll notice, everything here is going to be just the same as I normally see. And if I start this machine, you'll notice everything powers up just fine. But if I were to come back up here and look at this XP Professional machine, it would be powering up as well. Why? Because this is a shared machine. Okay, so if one of us shuts it down, it's shut down for all of us, and you can have up to 10 people at a time logged into a single shared machine. And so anyway, Windows is going to boot up, everything's going to work just fine, but that is how I connect to a machine. Now, once I've worked with this virtual machine and I don't want to be connected anymore and I want to disconnect, I want to show you something here, and this is a bit tricky. If I right click on the name of it, I get some other information like I always see, but to disconnect I have to come up here to this level and right click here and choose disconnect. And notice that disconnected me from the machine. It's still out there. I can get to it later if I would like, and there's still see my shared machine there, and I'm back to where I was, and I can come back to this one later. So anyway, that is how to connect to a remote server and use the shared machines that are there. And keep in mind, all the machines that I had shared on this machine at 192.168.0.192 would have appeared here in the library for me. So shared virtual machines, really neat stuff. Strongly encourage you to set some up, play with them, go read the documentation about them. There's a lot of things that are really cool about these things. You'll just have to experiment to see if you like them in your particular environment and look at some of the nuances of using them, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and so forth. So anyway, that's a good introduction to shared virtual machines.